Hello, my lovely Leo, and welcome to your May monthly reading. This is just a general reading, so please do take what resonates and toss the rest. Also, if you haven't had a chance, please do check out your love bonus and your moon reading out there. However, if you do enjoy this, please do like, subscribe, share, hit that notification bell, all that other great stuff. I would greatly appreciate it. It does help me grow my channel and it does get to the other Leos. So I will go ahead and get this started, and do please keep in mind that time is fluid in tarot and gender is neutral. Alrighty, so without further ado, we will do a past, present, future spread on you here, and let's see what we've got to work with, shall we? Alrighty. Alright, so let's see where we've been in the past here. All right, so we've got the Queen of Pentacles in reverse and a Seven of Swords in reverse. Okay, so I feel like, you know, you've had some changes work-wise maybe, or you've decided, you know, that you had to make a change work-wise. So I feel like, you know, you are on your path, right, to something totally new. I feel like your work life for some time has kind of either been, you know, something that you've been unhappy with, displeased with, or you felt was very stagnant, okay? Or maybe you just didn't have a work life, right? And so you felt like, I've got a lot to give, I've got a lot of skill, a lot of talent, you know, these kinds of things, but I haven't really been able to use it to kind of develop my money-making ability in the way that I possibly could. So I feel like you've kind of really had to shift gears. You've really kind of already started making a lot of changes, and you're on your route. You know, maybe you've gotten a new job, maybe you've started putting feelers out, maybe you've started your own business, maybe you're kind of doing some work from home type things, but I do see that you've recently kind of made an adjustment. Let me see if we can get some more here. Okay, so Six of Pentacles, excuse my nose, is itching so bad, my cat is walking around. You've got a Six of Pentacles in reverse. So I feel like, again, you know, you're trying to bring things, you know, kind of back into balance, but I feel like they've kind of been a little bit out of bounds for you. You know, you've been shifting from one job to another, or one position to another, or trying to create something, you know, a new job, a new position, work from home, a new, you know, something you've kind of been trying to change or shift. And so I feel like, you know, your finances have been a little bit out of balance. And I feel like that's something that you are currently working to, you know, kind of repair. So I do feel like that's something that you are continuing to work on, and maybe you've kind of been struggling with a little bit. I do see that, you know, I feel like maybe you know, you may have had to get some help a little bit from somebody, you know, to get you through, tide you over through the shifting. You know, it may even be that you had a layoff, or, you know, just things at work weren't good. You couldn't get raises, bonuses, things like that, so you had to leave, those kinds of things. But, you know, I feel like, you know, you haven't really been able to, you've just been out of balance, okay? But I feel like you're correcting that, okay? Everything in me is telling me that you are correcting that right now. So let's see what we've got in the current here. So we've got the Eight of Wands in reverse and the Nine of Swords in reverse. Okay, so the Eight of Wands is telling me, you know, that you are really kind of taking a step back. I feel like that's the case. You know, I feel like you are moving forward, but taking a step back. So it's like you're taking one step forward, but two steps back. I feel like that's what you feel like, and that's what you know. So, you know, again, this is kind of why I see that you may be struggling a bit, stressed a bit, a little bit over some finances. The shifting is always hard. The changing's always hard. And again, you may have had to, you know, borrow some funds, or, you know, rack up some credit cards, or, you know, these kinds of things. You may have had to ask for some family help, those kinds of things, because you've been kind of out of balance in your finance, your budget, what have you. So I feel like even though you are making strides, and everything in this is telling me you're making strides in my intuition, okay? Everything in this is telling me you are making strides with this change. It's going to be making strides. You know, I do feel like there is, in your mindset, you are feeling like, oh man, I'm just going backwards. Like I feel like everything is like taking a step back. I'm losing ground. I'm losing footing, all this and that, right? But again, this Nine of Swords in reverse is kind of confirmation to me that I'm right, that you're moving forward, right? That my intuition is correct, because I feel like that is where you are, even though you might be taking a step back, you're feeling like at least you're starting to come into a more settled place, or something that you see that might be more long term. So you feel like at least there's something to build on, perhaps. So while right now you may not be where you want to be, you feel like there's a potential to get where you want to get, okay? Because I see your stress reducing. I see your, whatever you have decided to do, whatever shift you are making, it's kind of giving you hope, at least, that you've got that long-term chance to be better off in the end. Like, it's that light at the end of the tunnel feeling for you. And I feel like that's really helping you to kind of focus on what you're doing, focus on the future, focus on what you need. And it's really lowering your stress, okay, in that regard. So let's get some more clarifying on that. Okay, yeah, Page of Wands. Again, I feel like that's opportunity coming into you, fiery opportunity, that kind of, information that's bringing you, the opportunities for, again, better things, okay? So, you may have to shift into certain, different directions. Again, this may be, have to change jobs, and you have to start at a lower salary. You have to start at a lower position. You may be looking to start your own business, all these different things. And it may be a lot of, starting points all over again. And you're like, how am I moving forward when I'm really moving backwards? But you're not. Again, these are opportunities that are coming in that are going to get you where you need to go. And you know that you're getting, what you're doing is right in your gut, right? Your vibes, your body, your goal, your guts, all of that is telling you, your intuition is telling you that you're doing the right thing, and that there is a light out there at the end of this tunnel, because your stress levels are going down. You know that. So I do feel like, even though it's not where you want to be, you may feel like I'm taking steps back, you still have, a feeling that this is going to work. Two of Pentacles in reverse. Okay. So again, I feel like this is where, when these opportunities start coming in, you are starting to come back into balance, right? Okay. You're not having to juggle anymore. You're not having to rob Peter to pay Paul. You're not having to decide whether you pay the electric bill this month or you feed the kids this month. Maybe not that dramatic, but you get the gist. You're not having to do that. You may not be having to work 3 jobs, 5 jobs, 17 jobs, to try to keep up. You are able to actually kind of focus on the one thing, go forward. This is where things start to come back into balance and alignment. So your body knew, your body was right when the stress levels started to come down, because even though you felt like you're still moving backwards and starting over, you knew you were coming to a place that was going to be better in the end. And you're right. Okay. You're moving towards that. It's fantastic. Okay. So let's see, going into the future, how's it going to look as you go along? Okay. So we have the 9 of Cups in reverse. So I feel like, again, this is something where, I think you're shifting your focus away from your friends, family, that kind of situation, your fun time, your relationship time, because I really do feel like, because this is something new, because you're taking on a new position, you are having to start over. I feel like your goal and your focus is really going to be shifted towards work. Okay. I see that coming in the future, that's going to be something that I feel like you really are going to be really putting a lot of your effort, energy, time, emotion, that social life that you had maybe, or that family time that you loved, all that may have to take a back seat a little bit more than you really would like, for a bit, because you really are going to have to focus on, the work to kind of get you where you want to go. Okay. Because you are having to start over, but there's an end game, right? There's always an end game. It just takes a minute to build that. I mean, when you start over, that's what happens, but at least you're getting things back in balance, and you're doing it for a good cause, right? For those people that you love, for that end game, right? And we have the Chariot in reverse. So I feel like, this is like you are kind of, essentially, I feel like with the Chariot in reverse, okay, it's not that you're moving backwards. I don't feel like that at all. Okay. I feel like with the Chariot in reverse, what's happening here is that, you are just kind of staying stagnant. Okay. You are focusing and harnessing everything on what you can do right now to get established, okay? Because it is something new, right? You have to establish before you can grow, right? You can't walk in the door and, you know, day one, you're getting a raise, promotion, whatever, okay? If you start a new business, day one, you're not taking off and skyrocketing through the sky unless you're, you know, an anomaly, right? So I feel like, you know, for you, this is kind of like you're putting the brakes on, in a good way though, because it's like, yeah, again, you can't spend all this time that you normally had. You really don't have much extra time. You're really kind of at a standstill in your life on everything else. And you're really just kind of stagnated in focusing on building yourself back at your work, okay? And that's not a bad thing. That's something that's going to really behoove you in a future there, okay? Four of Pentacles. So again, you're able to start getting your grasp back on your funds, right? So back here, you know, everything is kind of upside down. All your funds are out of balance, they're upside down. You really don't even have any to hold on to. It doesn't look like, right? You're kind of like, you know, maybe even borrowing some or robbing Peter to pay Paul. Over here, you're starting to get it and you're starting to hoard it. So that's good. That's what you need, okay? But again, it takes time to build up, you know? So you're not taking off, you're not skyrocketing, but you're making slow and steady wins the race, right? So you're getting there, okay? So let's get another one here. All right, Page of Swords in reverse, okay? So, you know, I feel like, again, this is something where, you know, I feel like there's going to be people who are going to try to drag you back, okay? They're going to try to talk you out of this. So if you're starting a new business, they're going to go, you know, you're just focusing too much on this. You're just putting too much time in that. You know, you're not all your effort, all your energy. You're going to this. This is all you're doing. This is your whole life's focus is this. And, you know, you're neglecting all of this. You're neglecting your family. You're neglecting your other responsibilities and, you know, this and that. You need to just find a, you know, a plain old, you know, side hustle, this and that, whatever. But listen, okay? The reason that those people are telling you that, I don't feel like this is a negative card, okay? I do feel like those people are either people who care about you, that are around you, and they want to spend time with you, okay? So they want you to be around more, and you are very much, you know, kind of focused on your work. But also, I think the other thing too is a lot of them see you kind of spinning your wheels, it looks like to them from the outside, right? They see you putting all this effort into maybe something, you know, your own business, your job, you know, pouring over this work, this hours, very laborious, all of that, right? And they just see you holding tight to your Four of Pentacles here, okay? They don't see you, they're like, with what all you should be putting in, you should be running the company, you should be worth millions, you know, because they don't understand the process, they don't understand what you're doing. You know, it's very, very easy for people on the outside to kind of be judgmental, not understand the process, not see that the shifts you're making, starting over is hard, and you have a goal, you have a plan, and you really are working towards that, especially if you are, you know, trying to put money back, hoard money back, build a base, you know, a foundation towards something, you know. So I do think that, you know, a lot of people are trying to kind of drag you back into just go back to doing, you know, what you did before, something easy, something, you know, not necessarily easy, but you know what I mean, like a regular old, you know, punch in, punch out type of gig, and, you know, leave it be. And they just want it, they don't want you to be this, you know, driven, right? Because they don't feel like it's really worth what you're going through. But you can see that it is. Like you could see over here, you know, like you could feel over here when your stress levels were kind of like dropping, like, okay, even though I feel like I'm taking steps back, I know there's an end game. I know it's going to move me forward. You know what you're doing has a good end game. They just can't see it because they're not part of the plan, right? They're not in the plan. They're not walking in your shoes. They're not living your life, right? So even though they might be coming from a good place, I do feel like it's not anything that you need to really worry about. So let's get one last card here, and then we will do some clarifiers here. Okay, so this is the Six of Swords in reverse. So that's typically like a moving away. You got to get away, you got to get to something safer, better, whatever. This is you coming into yourself, okay? This is you coming into your peace. So this is where it all culminates to you sailing into your spot in the, you know, in the goal, the dream, okay, that you had kind of seen, you know, your foresight for yourself here, okay? So I feel like this is all kind of where it comes in, and it's starting to slowly kind of pay off, right? This is where you're starting to feel like you're getting your flow, slowly but surely. It's slow sailing, but you're starting to get your flow, right? You're starting to feel that safety, that comfort, that kind of where you are starting to take control, okay? You don't feel like you have to run away. You don't feel like you're, you know, this isn't going to be something long term. This is going to be something I'm going to have to ditch. I'm going to have to, you know, bail from, or it's not going to be, you know, something that I can ride out, or it's a storm coming or anything like that. This is like that. You're coming into your feeling of security, safety. Maybe you're starting to see your nest egg build. Maybe you're starting to feel like you're taking control and getting things down and organized to where you really are starting to build your, you know, your name. If it's something where you're dealing, you know, with clients and things like that, getting your name out there, or you're starting your own business, those kinds of things, or where, you know, if it's a whole new industry or a new company where you're really starting to get the recognition that you feel you deserve, that's going to start propelling you to those raises, those bonuses, and those things that you kind of already saw in your future. So I feel like this is kind of where you feel like it's paying off, okay? And it's going to be a slow process, but anytime you start over, it is, right? Nobody starts over, well, not nobody, I guess some people do, depending on who they know. But most people do not just start over after, you know, either leaving a job, losing a job, leaving a relationship, losing a relationship, whatever, right? And then they are instantly propelled back to, like, you know, CEO of the company or whatever. It just doesn't happen, right? You have to kind of do your time, right? Put your time in. So, you know, I feel like you know that, you understand that process, and you are making these things happen. And if you're starting a whole new business or a whole new thing yourself, you know, or your whole new creation of something, then, you know, obviously you know that that takes a lot of work to build from the ground up. And again, that's a process. And, you know, people around you may just not understand that, but you are understanding that, you're seeing that. And even though it's very slow and you're going to have a lot of patience, I do feel like here at the end, so, you know, end of the month, going into next month, you know, maybe even later, again, time's fluid, so it depends on where you are in the process now, you know, you're going to start seeing those positive signs letting you know that you're headed in the right direction. So I definitely think that's good. This is the Psychic deck, and we'll pull 3 out of here to kind of see where you're headed. All right. Alrighty, so we have Solitude, and Solitude in this deck is kind of, it's like spending time with yourself, journaling, thinking, deep thoughts. And I feel like this over here is kind of where, you know, again, you know you need to change. You know you've got to get out of somewhere. You know you've got to shift something. Things are off balance. Things are off course. This is where you kind of start to formulate in your brain, what is it I want? What does I want to do? What's my better option? What's my next move? And so I think that's kind of where you're going with that, okay? And here's sacral chakra. So again, I think with the chakra here of, you know, these are different types of things that you are, you know, you're headed towards. But again, with this, I don't think it would matter which chakra you really drew here. I think all your chakras are kind of in sync. You know what you need, you know what you want, you know what you desire, you know what you are going for, you know what actions you need to take, you know what your body's telling you have to do. And all of these things you are kind of working in tandem, okay, to make happen. So even though you know you might feel like you're moving backwards, you know, you're starting to kind of feel that healing of kind of getting some peace of knowing that, yes, this is going to be a process. Yes, I'm going to make it happen, but I'm going to do this. I can do this. I want to do this. I need to do this. This is something for me. My body needs this piece. My body needs this movement forward. My soul needs this. Everything needs this. And it's going to be something where you're going to put out those vibrations. And when you do that, that's when, you know, opportunities will start to come back to you. And when they do that, again, I do feel like that is where, you know, you are going to start making that motion forward. Okay. And then in the last one here, we have partnerships and alliances. And I absolutely think that's what's happening here. I think, you know, you are getting into that place where you are starting to, you know, kind of start developing yourself as you know, an active person or participant in this position, whatever it may be, whether it's, you know, at a new company, a new job, starting your own business, whatever it is that you're doing. I do feel like you are starting to, you know, really become a player in the game here, really become an active participant. You know, you're forming those partnerships, you're forming those alliances, and you knew it would take some time to build up your name, your business, your what have you, but you're doing it, right? So you're really kind of growing, and, you know, it's a slow pace, but every time you make a business partnership or an alliance, or, you know, a person gets your name, you know, or hears you, that's one step closer, right, to your goal, to your ambition, and you know that. And so I feel like by the end of this, like I said, I feel like you're starting to come into, like, you're getting your groove back. You're feeling like, okay, I'm starting to get those connections, get those partnerships, get my name recognition, get the things back that you need to really make progress, really make growth. So I do see definite great things for you, okay? So let's pull 3 cards out of the moon deck and we can close out here, okay? But I do for sure, I feel like, you know, you go from a place of being out of balance, out of sorts, financially kind of just off, right? Off, to kind of starting over and kind of rebuilding yourself, you know, and really kind of despite some people being kind of naysayers, you know, and again, not necessarily from a bad place. I don't think. I think some of these people really truly are just looking out for your best interest, but they feel like you're, you know, wearing yourself down, and they don't really see the end game that you see. Okay. It's not their fault. They just don't have the insight. They have never, you know, maybe dealt with it the way you have, or worked, you know, walked a day in your shoes, or worked in your field, or, you know, that kind of stuff. So maybe they're really trying to look out for you, but it's really not helpful when, you know, people, you're doing the best you can and you're busting your hump and you see the end game happening. And they're kind of like, what? I mean, you should be like running the company by now, shouldn't you? With as much as you're, you know, we all been there. Okay. So resistance. And I feel like absolutely you have resistance here that you are having to make. You know, there may have been resistance, you know, from your job, from your relationship, from whatever that caused you to have to get in this position. You know, maybe economic resistance, whatever, but you had to resist staying. Okay. You had to choose to make anew, start over, because you couldn't deal with the being out of balance anymore. This wasn't for you. You resisted that. Okay. I'm just going to keep trying to, you know, deal with this the way I can and dig myself deeper in a hole and, you know, put up with this longer, or whatever you might have been able to do, but it just would have gotten you worse off. You'd rather have started over. So you had to resist that urge sometimes to stay in a comfortable place, and you chose to move forward in a new, you know, start from scratch position. And that's, you know, that's bold and that's daring, but it's also going to be very, fulfilling for you, I think. So your next card is hunger, and that could not be a better card for you, because that's exactly what this row is about. This whole row is about you, you know, moving forward, being hungry to move forward, and getting those opportunities because of it, you know. And I do feel like that's what you have. You have drive, you have hunger, and you really do want to make a go of something new. You have something new in your head, you have something on your mind, and you, despite the fact that you feel like you're moving backwards by starting over, you still, you still persist. You are hungry and you still persist. And by persisting, you really ease your own mind that you can do this, that you are strong, that you can fight through. And that kind of energy is what brings you the opportunities and what eventually leads you to where, you are able to no longer have to be out of balance, robbing Peter to pay Paul, that kind of stuff. So I feel like that's absolutely, your hunger and your drive, your motivation, your sheer, will and strength is really what drives you through here and gets you through this. And the last one is purity. And I think this is a couple, I feel like this is twofold. One part of it is, I feel like that Page of Swords in reverse. Again, everything about that is telling me that that's somebody or people in your life that care about you, that love you, that are just seeing you, not being able to spend time with them, and they are worried that you're working too hard and you're putting yourself, out there too much and all of this and that. And, they're just concerned. Okay. And I mean, I think they are coming from a place of purity. They mean it. They're not, even if though you feel like, gosh, they don't understand anything. Why can't they be more supportive? I don't think they're not trying to be. I do think they're coming from a place of pure heartedness when they're saying this to you, even though that's just not what you want to hear or need to hear at this point. I do think that that's what they're trying to do, okay? But for you personally, purity for you is that this is pure and simplistic, okay? This is an absolute pure and simplistic drive, okay? You are focused. You have one pure and simplistic drive. It is the focus to make your goal happen, okay? You are not distracted by anything that is, out of line, out of order. You are purely goal-oriented, okay? So you are, in this regard, you are coming into a place that is pure for you. It is what you have decided you want. It's what you've put your work into. It's what you've put your effort into. It's what you have envisioned for yourself, manifested for yourself, worked hard for, created. It's your own path. It's purely yours. And I do believe with this end card that it is a purely earned, okay, success. Okay, so it's something you can be very proud of. It's not something that you got by lying, cheating, stealing because of who you know, because of what, nepotism, this, that, the other. It's not anything that came through ill-gotten gains. It is something that you created from, pure hard work, dedication, drive, focus, and you deserve this. So enjoy it, okay? And so anyway, I do hope this resonated with you. If it did, please do like, subscribe, share, all that other great stuff. Otherwise, I hope to see you back for your weekly reading for next week. And I do see that this is going to be a very, a very positive new step for you. Even if it is a slow one that takes some patience, and even if it is one that at first you kind of feel like you're just spinning your wheels or moving backwards, I know that you, in your deep down inside, you know that you're doing the right thing, and that's what makes it even more wonderful when you accomplish it. So congrats. Bye.